Hello everyone, welcome to English Morphology and Syntax. Last week we already talked about the types of phrases, right? So in this week we are going to cover three main topics, which are relationships of phrases that we still left last week, and also clausal and sentential categories. So I would like you guys to really carefully watch this video, really focus on watching this video since it's cover three main topics. So when you guys come back again next week we still study through online, in case you guys go back to your hometown and you would like to do some social distancing before coming to class. So next week, the week after some grand holiday, we're going to make it online as well. The 22nd, Wednesday 22nd. Okay, so let's not waste more time. Let's start it with the relationships of phrases. If you kind of don't get the idea, don't get the concept in some terms, feel free to note it, take it down and watch the video again. But if you still don't understand what I'm talking about, feel free to contact me through my email, okay? Or if you would like to keep it to after the class, feel free to do so as well. Okay, so let's get started by the first topic, relationships of phrases. So if you still remember, relationship of phrases, relationship within a phrase, we separate similarly, we separate the relationship in compound. However, the relationship within a phrase, there are just two types, unlike compound words that we have a lot of types. So relationship within a phrase, we have just two types of relationship, which are endocentric and exocentric. I hope you're still familiar with this term. However, as I mentioned before, relationship within a phrase is much more easier to classify than relationship with in the compound words. So I can tell you guys from the very beginning, the only type of phrase that fall into the exocentric is prepositional phrase. The rest of the types of phrase fall into endocentric, which means most of the phrase are endocentric, only prepositional phrase that it is exocentric. Okay, let's have a look. Endocentric, it still carry the same meaning. Endocentric, we refer to the relationship when the meaning of the head is the center. So as you may know, the head of the phrase is the part of speech itself. For example, the head of the noun phrase is the noun itself, like history books. History books, romantic films. So the head is books and films. So these are endocentric. Noun phrase is endocentric. You don't have to think that much. If it is noun phrase, it is endocentric because the head of it carry the main meaning already. Also the verb phrase had English breakfast this morning. So had is the main, is a head, right? And it's carry the main meaning, and it makes verb phrase to be endocentric. Also this one, as well entered the final round. So enter the final round, enter is a head, and it makes this verb phrase to be endocentric. Apart from noun phrase, verb phrase, we also have adjective phrase like really hot or surprisingly delicious. So the head is adjective itself that carry the main meaning, hot and delicious. So both of it, they are endocentric because endocentric, the head carry the main meaning, and adverb phrase, the same case, very confidently, very well. So confidently and well, they carry the main meaning. So it is endocentric. Let's move to exocentric. Exocentric is a relationship within the phrase that the primary focus, that the main meaning doesn't put it in the head. So as you guys may remember, prepositional phrase, the head of prepositional phrase is preposition itself. right? However, when we have a look at prepositional phrase, it seems that the preposition is not the main meaning, is not clearly like noun phrase or verb phrase. For example, like in the sea, under control, on board, or until tomorrow, it seems that the meaning, the focus is shared between the head and other elements within the phrase. So only prepositional phrase that it is exocentric. Okay. And let's move to phrase and their functions. So noun phrase, the function of noun phrase, they can function as the noun phrase can be function as the noun itself. So what a noun can do, a noun phrase can do that too. For example, noun phrase can be subject, object of verb, and object of preposition. For example, like the little girl walked through the forest. So the little girl here is a subject. Or the wolf want to eat the little girl. So the little girl here is the object of verb eat. And he entered the room with the little girl. The little girl noun phrase, but here it functions as the object or the complement of the preposition with. And next, verb phrase. The only function, normally the verb phrase can be function like the big proportion. Normally the verb phrase can function as predicate, but sometimes it can function as a complement of verb as well. As you can see here, Prisha killed with Tia. So kill with Tia, it is a verb phrase that function as predicate. Or Sunny bought me a birthday cake. So bought me a birthday cake is a verb phrase and it functions as predicate. She painted her house blue. Painted her house blue is also predicate. So when the verb phrase will function as complement. For example, the complement of verb phrase like the verb infinitive verb phrase like I want to go to the cinema. To go to the cinema is the verb phrase that function as the complement of the verb want. Okay. And okay, so here is an example of the verb phrase that function as the complement, like Yoshida plans to finish this book tonight. So to finish this book tonight, as you can see, it's not the main verb phrase. Like, okay, the main verb we have to count plans, right? But also we can deny that to finish this book tonight is also the verb phrase. However, it's not the main verb, so it won't function as predicate, but rather to finish this book tonight function as a complement of the verb plans. Also here, I let him borrow my video camera. So borrow is a verb infinitive without to, and it's not the main verb. However, we still count it as a verb phrase, borrow my video camera, and it functions as a complement of the verb let. Okay, so this is the examples of how verb phrase can be functioned as the complement. Okay, so normally it functions as a complement of another verb phrase. And next, adjective phrase. Adjective phrase function as adjective itself. It can function as a modifier of noun or noun phrase, and also it can function as a complement of a linking verb. So here are the example. So the first one, this was a really cold day. So really cold is an adjective phrase that modify the noun day here. Also here, surprisingly small, it is the adjective phrase that modify amount of liquid. And number 55th, mother work is very competent. So very competent here is adjective phrase. However, it's not the modifier here since it's follow linking verb to be. So very competent is the adjective phrase function as a complement of the linking verb to be. And number 56, he looked rather pathetic. So rather pathetic is the adjective phrase function as a complement of the linking verb looked here. Looked here is linking verb since its function similar like verb to be. And okay, next is the adverb phrase. So the function of adverb phrase can function as a modifier. It can modify many things except noun or noun phrase. So here are the example, like Mary dances very beautifully. So very beautifully is the modifier of the verb dance. And 58, like funnily enough, all people seem to enjoy bingo. So funnily enough is the adverb phrase that functions as a modifier of the whole clause. All people seem to enjoy bingo. That follow it. And number 59, the situation is really completely under control. So really completely is the adverb phrase that modify prepositional phrase under control. Okay, and those students are behind in their studies. So behind in their study is prepositional phrase. Not prepositional phrase. It is adverb phrase that functioning as the complement of the verb. So in this case, in number 60 is very rare and special case, since we have the adverb phrase behind in the study, but rather instead of like modify, like just a modifier, but adverb phrase in this case function as a complement of a verb instead. And apart from adverb phrase, we also have prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase function as a modifier as well. It can modify everything. For example, like the man in red shirt. So in the red shirt is the prepositional phrase modify man. And 62, you can express yourself easily in your own language. So in your own language is prepositional phrase, then it starts with in preposition, and in your own language is a prepositional phrase that modify, express the verb. This costume, number 63, this costume is suitable for tropical country. So for tropical country is prepositional phrase, and it starts with for preposition, and for tropical countries modify suitable, which is adjective. And number 64, he is waiting outside in the dark. So in the dark is the prepositional phrase start with in. In the dark is a prepositional phrase modify outside, which is adverb. So that's all for the prepositional phrase. In the next video clip, we are going to talk about clausal categories. So if you're still unclear about the content in this video clip, feel free to watch it over and over again before you move to clausal category and sentential categories.